Hello, everyone who's watching. This is Manu, otherwise known as the Mint Water Bear from the Dott. Um, so, for those of you who haven't been following the Instagram of Dott, we all members of Dott have their own names. It's kind of like a metaphor to have like our own artist identities. Some of us might have already artist entities before joining the company, but the idea is that we have like a unified, it's not like a nationality, but just as a reference, it's kind of like a nationality. So since we are like a fraternity or a brotherhood and sisterhood of artists, it just feels good to have uh, an identity within the same universe, let's put it that way. So Janet, she's Pink Butterfly, and today we're gonna learn about her. So Janet, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I'm actually from the San Fernando Valley area in California.
All right. So you're a painter. We see some of your lovely works behind you. Those
Mhm.
are oil on canvas, correct?
Actually, yeah, these two, the one on the right and the left, are oil paintings, and then this one in the middle is actually an acrylic painting. But for now, I mainly do oils.
All right. So now you're mainly doing oils. Has it always been like that? I know it hasn't. I know it has always been. You went through various phases. Can you tell us a little bit about the different phases?
Sure. I mean, I've done art almost, it feels like my entire life. So I definitely have gone through a bunch of phases. I love doing charcoal because I love just the black and white contrast. I like watercolors. There was a period I did watercolors and I did these ink faces of nature on top of women. And then there was a period I did acrylics for a while, which that was one of them. But I think for the past, I'd say maybe 5 to 7 years, I've been doing oil paintings. And I love oil paintings in the sense of the fluidity of it. You could definitely blend a lot easier with oil paints versus acrylics. And it's something technique-wise that I'm just getting better at.
hmm And also, like topic-wise, did you go through
Mhm.
different phases as well? I know you had. I don't know if it was a short period or if it's something that you've been doing for a long time. The motherhood topic.
Mhm.
Uh, like, for how long have you been doing that? Like, did you go through various phases, or is this like the only actual phase? And besides that, it was always a little bit, you know, not necessarily stuck to a topic.
Yeah, so I have definitely gone through phases. So actually, when I became a mother about 7 years ago, I was just inspired to do the unconditional love of mothers. So I decided to do a mother holding a baby, but without their faces showing. And then I have these hearts around the baby and then around the mother. Just because when I became a mother, it just opened my eyes and expanded the possibilities of just unconditional love on a completely different level. And I think all mothers could kind of understand that. So I wanted to depict that in the paintings. So I did a series of those paintings. And then later on, I just wanted to depict women and nature. So I did a series of watercolors, outlines of faces, which I said earlier. And then now I've painted my mom and also painted my kids. So I definitely paint, obviously, my family members. And then I'm also doing a series currently of mothers, just showing the resilience and strength of mothers. Because I also becoming a mother, I definitely admire the amount of work and sacrifice and how hard it is to raise a child is extremely difficult. So I wanted to show mothers being strong and resilient, holding their child.
hmm Um, and so obviously there's a strong personal factor to your artwork, as is not uncommon among uh, amazing artists. They tend to express
Hmm.
very personal feelings.
Yeah.
Um, how did you manage to balance art with your personal and professional life in general? Have you always managed to do only art, or because obviously society favors doctors, lawyers, business that in that sense, so the artist is not really um, an appealing 9 to 5 job.
Hmm.
Um, and parents usually frown when their child will say, "I want to be an artist." So,
Yeah.
like, what's your experience like in that way?
It's a great question. My parents were always supportive of me. I'm so thankful. They always wanted me to go into art ever since I was somewhat born for some reason. Like I knew from very young I wanted to be an artist. I just love, expressing myself in that way and doing art to share my emotions. So yeah, definitely. I think art, it does take a lot of time, and I decided to become an art teacher. And I love being an art teacher. I love giving back. I love having other students share my passion with me. But I would say I take art classes is what it was. So that was my only way to discipline myself, I would say. And I didn't have as much of a studio space where I was living. So I just took a lot of art classes, and it just forced me to do art. But also, it was my time. It was my time for myself, and it was a time also for me to learn new techniques. And I currently do that. So I teach full time. I'm a mother, but I take art classes 4 times a month for 4 hours. And so that's my dedicated studio time to work on my art.
Hmm. Also, just for the record, so Janet
Mhm.
is, as I said, she's got a Dott name. She's Pink Butterfly, which means she's a house. She's an in-house artist of Dott,
Mhm.
um, and like as CEO of Dott, we have a lot of collaborations with many artists. We have a lot of affiliated artists, but we don't have a lot of in-house artists or household artists. And the main, like, one of the main factors for me to select the artists who are gonna be in-house is that kind of like it takes us back to the early 1900s, where we got people like Modigliani, and they lived in dire poverty, and they painted because they wanted to paint, and it's more of a soulful expression um, activity, and so they would rather die hungry and paint than do anything else. So I feel like my goal with the people that I choose, like Janet, is precisely people that no matter what they're gonna be doing in life, they'll always gonna be doing their art as well. So Janet is someone who I know will always be painting no matter what she's gonna be doing, because she doesn't just see it as a professional craft. She sees it as a need. So I just want to say that for the record.
Can I
Um,
can I touch upon that actually?
Go ahead.
Because I think I do want to share why I love art so much. And so I do have a very, very special place in my heart for art. And I think me and Manu definitely have the same vision in terms of what art is for us. So for me, art is something that's very internal, but is expressed externally. But I also feel that art is this almost spiritual sense. I have a hard time focusing on the present. I sometimes think about the future a lot or the past. And when I'm doing art, I have to be in the present moment because I'm painting. So when I'm in that present moment, it's almost like a part of myself internally is coming onto that canvas. And I feel like also something, a part of me is speaking. And also I feel that there's healing that's going on too. I feel that when you create art, and especially if you're sharing some type of emotion, there's some healing process in there because you're creating art within. And normally art my artwork speaks about either my problems or something that, I cherish or love. And so I'm passionate about it, and that internal comes out externally. So I think having other people in that same process or mindset to de-stress and then to express their internals externally is very important.
Hmm. Like that's it feels so great to hear somebody else say that because like it feels like
Yeah.
you just reach out into my gut and you pull out the words because
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel. And
Mhm.
as you were speaking, I was actually searching my phone like for a few seconds because I've got a quote by Cicero, the ancient Roman philosopher,
Mhm.
who's I read a lot about him. As you know, I'm a huge bookworm, and I couldn't find it because also I don't want to be too distracted. But it goes
Mhm.
something along the lines of art is or spiritual and is a spiritual endeavor
Mhm.
to heal a broken world. So basically,
Mhm.
and Cicero was a member of parliament, and so like I think nowadays everything is so specialized that nobody, you don't think of politics and art as something that goes together. But
Mhm.
thousands of years ago, we had this man who was a politician, but who saw not politics but art as the true way to heal society.
Mhm.
Um, and to maintain order. So I think this speaks volumes,
Mhm.
um, and it really has to do with this soulful need to express. And also, you said something which I think is really really important, which is not just being able to do that yourself to express,
Mhm.
in your case through painting, in my case through writing, but to
Mhm.
be able to connect with other people who feel the same.
Mhm.
And that's the whole point of Dott. That's the whole point why I made Dott. um I've always wanted to write, but and then I started writing, but then I realized there was something missing, and that was it. It was making this kind of brotherhood or sisterhood of other people who feel the same way about art,
Mhm.
really really feel the same. Because I mean, if not all people, most people will say they like art, but not all of them would engage in creative activities on a regular basis, let alone
Mhm.
do it no matter what for as long as they live, which
Mhm.
is what you and I do.
Mhm.
So yeah. Anyway, this is just like I'd rather focus on your story, but I feel like this is also relevant for your story.
Oh no, I think it's very relevant to talk about. I mean, because this is my passion and the why is so important. Like, why do I create these paintings? So I think, yeah, it's important to share our visions of, you know, who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. So it's
Absolutely,
important.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, um, do you have any specific goals, like any, like, um, painting wise? So, not on the business side, but in terms of what you want to paint, are there certain topics that you want to explore, or even certain mediums? Is there anything that you've been thinking about for the future?
Well, as of right now, I've been thinking about, my style and then obviously what I want to paint. And I keep gravitating towards women, just
Mhm.
being a woman myself. But I just find women so amazing just on so many different levels. I mean, the motherhood I definitely feel is, yeah, a whole nother topic, but also just women in general. So I think topic wise, I am sticking to the idea of women's beauty, their grace. And then I also am just focused on oils, I'd say, because I'm taking the classes right now. So I think oil painting wise, there is a topic that I have explored in the past that I think I also am interested in as well, but it ties a little bit with women is just the idea of freedom.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of people obviously have fears or things that are restricting them or things that they fear, to do. So I like the idea of just being free and being free from the fears and being free to pursue your goals or to face the fear, to have the courage to go through it, and you feel just so much better on the other side. So I have been doing, in the past, I have been doing freedom, like women with these arms open and spread and feeling free, basically. And so that's a topic that I definitely can relate to, and something that I might explore some more too.
Mm-hmm. Like one of the things that I really like about the way you see women is that it is a very grounded way. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
nowadays there's so much controversy regarding feminism and
Mm-hmm.
equality of rights, be it in payment or, I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
so much going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I like about and regardless of what you agree with or what people disagree with, like um, with you, I think nobody can really disagree with the values that you express about women because
Mm-hmm.
you speak at a lot more human level in the sense that it doesn't feel political or it doesn't feel like activist. It just feels like
Mm-hmm.
a simple admiration for
Mm-hmm.
what it is to be a woman in its
Yeah.
true essence, and I feel like that's so beautiful because
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing controversial about that. It's just sheer beauty.
Yeah. I think I really try to capture, like you said, the word essence, like the essence of people. I mean, with my mom's painting, it's like the true essence of her is she definitely is graceful, when she paints, and she's kind. And then the true essence of my daughter, which I paint on this one, is she's just such a happy little girl. I'm very lucky to have her. So I wanted to paint her aura, but more her spirit and her joyfulness and her essence. So for me, painting is just not painting a portrait and just not, getting that portrait. It is the realistic, but also it goes more in depth to just painting the essence or spirits of people, because everyone has that type of essence or spirit. So how do I capture that, in an artwork? And while I'm painting, it's kind of like my spirit is also entwined with their spirit while I'm, trying to paint them. If that makes sense. But yeah, trying to dig deeper than just the photograph of the person, itself.
Mhm. Yeah. Like this might be an odd question, but I feel like it can be interesting to explore.
Okay.
I know it's something I think about sometimes, which is, would you compare painting to praying,
To
like,
pray. Oh,
or like
okay.
meditating?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there definitely is that connection, that spiritual connection, because when you're doing it with praying, you're in the moment. And I think with praying, you have hope, or you have some type of thing that you're praying towards. And I think painting has that same goal. So painting has this goal of achieving either a topic or idea or some type of hope, or giving that hope to other people through an artwork itself. I never thought of those two associating with each other.
Mhm.
But now that you talk about it, yeah, I definitely see the connection between the two.
Yeah, because I really like to explore bizarre ideas, and once you
Mm-hmm.
explore them, sometimes they don't seem so bizarre anymore because we're just stuck to like some kind of standard, and we tend to segregate like um, you know, in this case, meditation and painting. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could really be something that you put together um, without.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm meditating when I'm painting because like I said, I'm in that present moment, and like time stands still. I don't even know what time it is, and I could be painting for 3 hours straight and don't even know what's going on, and nothing else in the world matters
Yeah.
besides just me and painting. So it for me, it definitely is therapy, and in a sense, a meditative state that I'm in while I'm painting.
Mhm. And some artists tend to have like either personal heroes or artistic heroes who inspire them. Some
Hmm.
artists just like to blaze their own path and they don't really think about, um, you know, someone as their hero art-wise. Perhaps personally, they might, even though they might take elements from things that other people might have been doing, they don't necessarily see them as heroes. Do you have any heroes, or if not heroes, like people who have inspired you in some way with certain elements of their painting? Or
Yeah, I mean, artist-wise, I'm a big fan of Van Gogh. I just love the way Van Gogh does, the swirls, but just the passion. I think just the amount of passion he shows in each brushstroke, and it's very sculptural. I actually went to a Van Gogh exhibition at LACMA a long time ago, maybe like 15 years ago, but I still remember the paintings look very sculptural, and you almost have to look, around it to see it. So I just love the passion behind his paintings. When I was in college, I used to do these very contemporary artworks, and the artworks, I would write on the painting how to look at a painting. I did a still life where it was just part sections were cut off so you could see the canvas to know that it's still a painting. Anyways, my art teacher told me about this artist named John Baldessari. And John Baldessari is a contemporary artist that I admire because I was actually doing very similar ideas as him, but that was, way back when. And he has these red dots around people's faces just to call attention to them. Or he has a photograph and it says how to look at the photograph. So as on the contemporary side, I definitely admire, I'd say, John Baldessari's artworks.
like, would you see yourself like stealing elements from contemporary art, like I don't know, mixing your paintings with I guess bold features such as like red dots to capture attention, or like writing side notes saying how people should look at your painting, or something, let's say outrageous or unconventional? Would you is that something you would consider? Or
I mean, I explored that a lot, I would say in college wise, but for me as an artist, I really firmly believe also in the technical side as well. I believe that, yeah, there's a lot of abstract paintings and whatnot, and I do, like them, but I believe that the technical ability with the message itself makes it a much powerful painting. So I don't mind exploring, the more contemporary side. And I think my paintings have a little bit of impressionism in it in terms of like the loose brushstrokes or whatnot. But yeah, it's something as of right now I'm not exploring, but I wouldn't mind exploring the contemporary art and doing something, yeah, completely outside the box. I actually do have a painting over there that I'll actually show it.
yeah.
That's completely, like abstract. And this is something I did in college. And that one was about the space, or just having, focusing on the negative space, and the parts that were colorful as the background. So calling attention to the background versus the object itself. So yeah, it's something that I could go back to and explore. And I do have some of those paintings, but it's not something I'm doing currently as an artist.
I think it's really great that you explore, like you go through the different phases. I go through different phases as well, although I notice in myself that there are some elements that are so particular to me that without me realizing and then looking back, they've always been present throughout most of the phases. You have certain elements like that no matter what phase you're going through, like they're always there.
Yeah, I know I go through a lot of phases as an artist, but that's what I love about art, is that you could go through any, phase you want, and it's okay and it's fine. But I think what we were talking about earlier in terms of topic wise, I keep going back to the idea of just women, or motherhood, or freedom.
Right.
But obviously it comes from within. So I do paint, a lot of motherhood or freedom, or
That's nice. So in your case, like the main common thread has mostly to do with the things you're thinking about and the topics that you're the feelings and topics that you're trying to express. because I remember many conversations that I had with different artists, and I think it's very healthy for artists to be able to go through different phases, because obviously we change as people throughout life, and
Mm-hmm.
or at least how we're feeling about life, our perspectives about life, we learn and we evolve. um, and I think it is that is almostly inherently expressed through your art if you're an artist. um, and a lot of the conversations I had with artists, they were worried because um, I mean, it's no secret that like there's a huge economic factor related to anything you do as a
Mm-hmm.
craft, as a profession. So for artists as well,
Mm-hmm.
artists are very worried about having like this signature style, or this
Mm-hmm.
or like just having people look at whatever, a painting or reading a book or listening to a song, and being able to recognize that it's theirs. And they worry
Mm-hmm.
that if they go through different phases, people will not be able to understand that. But I think that's centralizing too much power on the audience, and it defeats the purpose of
Mm-hmm.
art itself, which is to express whatever you are feeling without thinking about whether it's gonna sell or whether it's gonna make you famous. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I have the same fears as other artists. I'm getting back into gallery showings and showing again, and my fear is I don't have enough paintings, in a certain particular style. And if I don't have enough paintings in that style, then I can't exhibit it, or people won't know exactly who they won't associate my name, with the style itself. And you're absolutely right. It is catering to the audience more, because as an artist, like, you should be able to have the freedom to be fluid and to do whatever style you want without the audience, having that much input on it. But it's something that, yeah, I would say, still struggling with,
Mhm.
because I do, as you see, my artworks are completely different in terms of style, and I would say I could possibly maybe get bored of a style too. The style that I'm doing right now, I don't foresee myself getting bored with, but you never know, and I might want to try something completely different.
Mhm.
So it's challenging. It's challenging to be an artist, but also to cater to, the audience and the public, and like you said, like, what is more important and how do you balance that? Because as an artist too, you want to be able to make monetary, you want to be able to sell your artwork and make a living off of it and make money. And how do you do that if you keep changing, your style
Mhm.
too?
Yes.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's the idea with Dot, is precisely that. It's to enable you to, without thinking about the audience, just express, have full freedom as an artist to express whatever you want.
Hmm.
And then it's my job to, you know, incorporate that into the business model of the company and be able to monetize.
Hmm.
Um, is there uh, anything you would like to say about Dot and how you hope that Dot might help you for the future? Um, I mean, I already know we've spoken about this a million times, but just for the camera, like, is there anything that you would like to say about your relationship with Dot for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to work with Dot. I mean, Dot located in Korea, I'm in the US, and just the idea of having my artworks is me being Korean myself. And I do some artworks like in the background about my Korean culture. I am excited to show my artworks, in another country. And I'm excited because we have the same vision in terms of what art is and how art speaks volumes and how art has this spiritual essence. I remember we had a conversation way back when about how, if you sell an artwork and my artwork is in someone's house, I feel like my spirit or myself is also in that house too. It's translated that way because I'm the creator, of that artwork. So having that same philosophy or mindset and working with Dot, I'm very excited because we're very aligned, very aligned in terms of our goals and our dreams and just sharing art, and art having such a powerful impact. Like people don't realize how powerful art is, but art, transcends all cultures or boundaries. Someone could look at an artwork and understand how someone else is feeling without speaking the language. So it's kind of like a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Hmm.
So I'm very excited to be able to show my artworks and my opinions and my feelings and my spirituality, through the Dot Company. So thank you, Manu, for even giving me this opportunity. I feel very honored to be working with you and to share my artworks.
Thank you also for having this interest in being part of the Dot community. And yeah, I think in your case we have like this special meaning of you being Korean American, and Dot is an international company, but the
Mhm.
headquarters being here in Seoul, there's like this sort of um, like going back to the roots sort of vibe. In any
Mhm.
case, we'll have many interviews. I hope to 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 do Instagram lives with you,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. So this is more of an introduction. Thank you so much for this interview,
Yeah, thank you, Manu.
and
It's my pleasure.
yeah, and see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.